Girl's car confiscated because she doesn't support Trump. My racist A**'s parents told me if I don't support Trump they're taking my car away. Like WTF. Funny how people who scream freedom the loudest are so eager to take it way over the tiniest slight. My dad literally asked me last night, are you voting Democrat or are you voting American? I have an ongoing segment with my friends called sh**t. My dad says. See, I'd try to put a spin on it like, well, are you going to vote for democracy or corruption? Does anyone have an insane parent that is not a crazy Trump lover? This sub has made me think the correlation is very high. I've yet to meet one that's calm enough to vote Democrat. The loud minority makes the silent majority look bad. Am I right? Just lie. It's what Trump would do. Correction. It's what any politician would do. Trump is just unusually experienced at it. I don't know, not really. He's pretty well found out in terms of his lies. Just cause he does it every time he speaks doesn't mean he's good at it. A lie is only as good as it works. He doesn't even try to hide it anymore. How does anyone still follow him? Honestly, if you still support him at this point, you need therapy beyond the scope of what medical science can even offer. He's a pretty sh**t liar then. Most politicians will lie if it has any advantage to do so. Trump will face a lie and the truth, with zero negative repercussions for telling the truth, and will still choose to lie. Now, I'll tell you. We have the best bricks in the world. This business deal will be the greatest in your life. Billions. Gains only 1 mil cutely. Literally came here to say this. It's what both sides do. Listen, who you vote for is private, make a decision to not discuss politics with them. If you need, let them to believe you they won and then vote for who you want. Yes. Train your daughter to lie to get what she wants. Actually, maybe that is good practice for later in life. Wait, not like that. It's shameful how people let politics get in the way of their relationships, especially with their own children. I don't think it's wrong to judge whether people are worth your time and effort or not based on their worldviews, but your own children should probably be the exception. LOL, I'm a conservative and I don't even support Trump. I do not understand some people's logic. It's that whole supporting a dictator over democracy thing. I watched the RNC and it looked like a Nazi rally straight out of the old propaganda films. A true conservative would never support Trump. He is a traitor to our nation, guilty of blatant treason. See, because I'm European, I think the Democratic Party are incredibly conservative and right-wing. America doesn't really have a left. Lie about it? They won't know who you actually vote for, and you'll use the car. They are not going to change their mind over politics anyway. Less taxes than Democrats. Do you make over $400K a year? Isn't there more kinds of taxes than just income/payroll taxes? Gas tax, tabs tax, carbon tax, property tax, consumption taxes. How many times is your dollar taxed when spending? Which of those are state level and which are federal? Which ones can Biden change? Why are you asking this question exactly? I make less than $400K a year, and I believe my taxes went down. Does the federal debt and deficit exploding due to less tax revenue concern you? Yes, it does. I'd love to abolish the Fed and have the market figure it out. I'm pro smaller government. What would replace the Fed if it was abolished? Enter the glitter fairy with sing-song voice. What would replace the Fed? My dear. The market. The Fed's duties are to conduct the nation's monetary policy, provide and maintain an effective and efficient payments system, and supervise and regulate banking operations. How would the market perform these duties? The U.S. national debt has increased by $6.6 trillion under President Donald Trump. The trade war has cost hundreds of billions. Does most of this have anything to do with the Fed? Or is mostly the Trump tax cuts, bad trade policies, military spending, COVID-19 spending, etc.? I'm curious about this argument. By relying on market forces, how do you foresee states competing with each other economically? Do you think states with smaller GDPs will be able to operate in the same way as wealthier ones? How will the market solve the deficit and debt problem? Government needs to set spending levels and sets percentages in order to service the incurred debt. Why isn't this a huge issue under Trump but it was under Obama for Republicans? Partisan politics. Do you mean that it's a huge issue that the Republicans are ignoring, or a small issue that the Democrats are overemphasizing? So when the Ohio River caught on fire in 1969 due to lax environmental regulations, was that a good thing? If dumping is cheaper than proper disposal of chemicals, why would any company beholden to profitable above all do anything differently? Abolish the Federal Reserve? Where would deficit spending funds come from? Why not cut Social Security and Medicare? Okay, so let's run this to the end. You have abolished the Fed. One state decides the other is full of shit. The other disagrees. A fine is levied but the other refuses to pay. Now force is necessary. Just like the federal government, law enforcement is used. But with 50 different states and 50 different militias all fighting for monopoly of violence. If you support Trump, what is the most important reason why? I understand there may be many, but what would consider the biggest/most important of them? Realignment of the American right to a more nationalist party. The Cold War is over and he's the first person in a long time to identify the next enemy, globalization, and the rise of China as a clear and present danger to our way of life. To be more specific, do you support white nationalism? As defined by tolerance for colored races as long as whites are the majority power. i.e. Make America White Again 1950s. No tolerance for colored races. i.e. Aryan Nation, neo-Nazis. Tolerance for colored races as long as whites are the majority power. i.e. Make America White Again 1950s. No tolerance for colored races. i.e. Aryan Nation, neo-Nazis. Okay, I think you're kinda confused as to what nationalism is. And by confused, I mean like if it's tomatoes in a grocery store, you're looking in the automotive section in a store 3 states over. Well, the definition of nationalism from Wikipedia is nationalism is a way of thinking that says that some groups of humans, such as ethnic groups, should be free to rule themselves. More specifically to the question of national identity, which definitely gets to the question of race. So white nationalism is a subset of nationalism. White citizens who don't like the lost national identity, white, by mixing ethnic groups, and the loss of superiority and power. There's many articles on this, and I'm happy to send them. As to your grocery example, it's more like vine tomatoes and cherry tomatoes. Also, you didn't answer the question. If we disagree on the definition, that's fine, but separately then, to make it more clear, do you support white nationalism? Yes, or no? Nationalism is an idea and movement that promotes the interests of a particular nation, especially with the aim of gaining and maintaining the nation's sovereignty over its homeland. First sentence of the Wikipedia article is actually this. I think you looked up ethno-nationalism. That's more of a Malcolm X or BLM idea. I'm not as in favor of ethno-nationalism as those groups are. If you want to talk about something else, you're certainly free to, but I'll let you know if I want to talk about that thing. Why doesn't Trump go after the Uyghur Muslim problem with China if he's trying to denounce them? Virtue signaling doesn't get you very far. He can denounce that situation as much as he wants. Doesn't mean China will do anything about it. I don't really care about all that, but it's a good angle to get people on board. His admin does officially refer to it as a genocide, even if all the large corporations and media outlets don't like to talk about it, not to mention athletes. Not up, but I think he'd rather have beneficial trade deals than wars. But it's an interesting question. I wonder what the world would look like if we took any action to save the Uyghurs. Who infringed on 2A more, Obama during his 8 years or Trump with his unilateral bump stock ban? I'd say both are equally bad. Though so far, nothing in the last 10 years tops the red flag laws that states of both parties are passing. I'm a little confused. Your most important reason for supporting Trump is his stance on the Second Amendment, yet he infringed on it during his first term? Since we know he acted quickly and unilaterally to ban bump stocks, if there's another shooting in his second term, how do we know that he's not going to do something like ban high-capacity magazines or tactical foregrips or something like that? I don't know that he's not going to do that. But the difference is, he isn't promising it like his opposition is. I would lose more rights voting for them than I do for him.